Oh, I want to mention regarding feminism. I think Pope Pius X, Saint Pius X, was really against women having the right to vote. What did he say? He said something along the lines of, she wants to be equal to the man in this, and then equal to him in all other things, and that kind of stuff. He was right. Modern women want to be the same as men, and men and women basically, there's no difference. That's the thing. In the past, you had gender roles, right? You had a family structure. The woman took care of her children at the house. She took care of the home, raised the children, all that kind of stuff. And it's weird because the world, the godless world, the way it has transformed, it teaches women that what God created them to do is inferior to what the man was created to do, and like it is is degrading and all this kind of filth. No. God created the woman to have the role of a wife, the role of a mother, a homemaker. Even the Bible says, let the woman take care of the home, right? It is not degrading. It is not some horrible thing. It is literally what you've been made for. It's like, but the thing is kind of like, how do we say this? Is like if, imagine if I'm trying to think of an animal. Imagine if a horse was jealous of a giraffe, right? The horse is like, oh, I wish I could eat leaves like the giraffe and do all that kind of stuff. Why is his neck so long he could eat all that? It's kind of like an envy. Whereas like the horse should be satisfied and content being a horse and do its best to do what a horse does well, and let the giraffe be a giraffe and do what the giraffe does. So there's no need to compete. There's no need for a horse to compete with a giraffe. But women have been taught that they're supposed to compete with men. So instead of the woman seeking to perform her role well and to perform her duty in society well, she wants to perform the man's duty better than he performs it. So instead of being a housewife and a homemaker, take care of her children, she wants to have a career and become a CEO and all this kind of stuff, which is what the man should be doing. So you have the horse trying to be the giraffe instead of trying to be the horse. There's no need to compete. There's no need for it. You're meant to be companions, not enemies. The woman is to be the man's companion. The man is the woman's companion, not her enemy. But the world has taught us, has taught people, taught me as well when I was growing up as a godless infidel as I was before. The world is teaching people that men and women are the same and they should compete with each other. No, they should not. The man should do his role, the woman should do her role. Now, granted, in today's world, everything is so expensive that it is difficult to have a traditional family structure without extreme hardship. Because to rent an apartment is expensive. To get a house is absolutely insane. All those kinds of things. Like a normal, like an average person working, let's say minimum wage or a little above minimum wage, that man can't, generally speaking, buy a house or afford a mortgage and all that kind of stuff. Because the way our society has allowed itself to progress, it has progressed in such a way that it makes having a traditional holy family structure difficult. But if the world, of course, had developed in a godly direction, then these things would have been considered as the world was changing. Because I remember, I think Pope Leo XIII, who I believe is called the working man's pope, he, in one of his encyclical letters, and maybe others, mentioned that the man who is working, being given a wage, he should be given a wage that is sufficient that he can take care of his family with it. But of course, in today's world, that's not the case. To take care of a family, you really generally can't do that with a minimum wage job, right? But you should be able to, so that society doesn't fall apart because the man is unable financially to fulfill his role, because not everyone's gonna be a millionaire, not everyone is gonna be a doctor or engineer, and not only CEOs have children. You know what I mean? It's not like the factory worker doesn't have a family as well. He also has a family and also has to take care of his family. But because of the way the world has been allowed to develop in this godless way, with only concern for money and no concern for the family and its structure and its stability, that is where we are right now. The factory worker, that man, can't generally take care of his family by himself. And so the woman is forced in many ways to enter the workforce because the husband can't afford to do it alone unless he's rich. You see? So the world's just complete trash at this point, man. It's horrible. It's really horrible. And I pray often, very often, every day basically, I pray for the 3 days of darkness. I pray for God to do whatever he has to do to clean the earth, to get rid of evil, and to establish righteousness on the earth. Yeah. Let's continue. In addition to affording recreation, they are able to inspire noble ideals of life, to communicate viable conceptions. To present truth and virtue under attractive forms, to champion the cause of justice, to give new life to the claims of virtue. And regarding this, to present truth and virtue under attractive forms, for me, as far as, recreation, entertainment, all that kind of stuff, I've mentioned before, there are different kinds of media that, apart from the filth in them, I enjoy many aspects. I enjoy watching a wrestling match, for example. I enjoy watching a Dragon Ball fight, right? But there's nothing like that. There's nothing with that, excitement or combat or, manly stuff like that in a modern, that is a modern form of media. There's no Catholic Dragon Ball. There's no Catholic Street Fighter, I guess, could be an example, maybe, stuff like that. There's nothing like that that is Catholic and morally pure, that is not corrupted by filth. So as I mentioned before, God's Last King in many ways is meant to provide that. It is meant to be that manly, exciting, fighting show that is morally pure, that is not corrupted by debauchery and sodomy and profanity and filth, That is what God's Last King is meant to be. And so, God's Last King in many ways, of course, a woman can watch it, could enjoy it, but it is really more geared towards towards males. It's really more of a male show, because it's like, it's going to be 99% of the action, I guess, is going to be just like men just fighting. Hold on. As I mentioned before, my throat is a little, I got some throat issues going on, so that's why I got to drink water. My nose is stuffy, all this stuff. Anyways, God's Last King is going to be, apart from the story itself taking place, the action and stuff like that is going to be 99% men fighting each other. It's like Dragon Ball. So it's really a Catholic fighting show, some martial arts kind of thing as well, but it's really meant to be just that, I guess they call it like a teenage boy show, in a sense, like something that just appeals to young men, the fighting and the combat and the manliness and all that kind of stuff is meant to be more so for men. I'm not saying a woman can't watch it, but it is really geared towards a male audience primarily. Okay, just like Dragon Ball is as well. Dragon Ball is not really geared towards females. It's really geared towards males, although there are women who watch Dragon Ball too, but it's really more of a man's show. Same thing with wrestling. Wrestling is also primarily geared towards men, because combat is a masculine thing. I don't think, for example, women should be wrestlers and UFC fighters and stuff. I think that is just deplorable trash. A woman shouldn't be fighting in UFC. She should be doing womanly things, taking care of her children, gardening, sewing. And I don't say this, that's the thing. The way our world is structured today, people will take offense at me saying that. I think, oh, blah, blah. But those are feminine things. There is such a thing as femininity and masculinity. there's nothing wrong with femininity, right? There's nothing wrong with a woman being feminine. She's supposed to be feminine. She's supposed to like dolls, or not Barbie, because Barbie is like the clothing is debauchery, of course. But in the sense of dolls, dresses, like those are feminine things. A woman is supposed to be feminine. A man is supposed to be masculine. So this should encompass what they are. A man should be manly, a woman should be womanly. Combat is a manly thing. That's why, like, I think in the Old Testament, there were no women in the army. A woman should not be in the army. A woman should not be fighting as a soldier. What is that? She should be at home taking care of her children. The man should be the soldier. So all the world is just completely twisted upside down and a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah.